U.S. Senator Bob Casey visited a Huntingdon County fire company today to highlight American Rescue Act funds directed to local emergency services.
Douglas Braff was there and talked with the senator about issues plaguing local emergency services.
In the mid-1970s, we had more than 300,000 volunteer firefighters in the state. Now that number is down below 40,000.
It's no secret that a number of fire companies in our region, and the country for that matter, face issues with volunteerism and funding, and a number of them in Huntingdon County received American Rescue Act funds. That includes Marklesburg Volunteer Fire Company, who received about $36,000 of the county's $450,000.
It'll help with some of the increased costs of equipment. It'll help for the lost revenue due to the pandemic, because where fundraising was over.
I can't even begin to imagine the challenges they face. Most of our state, by way of population, is served not by paid fire companies, but by volunteer fire companies.
Democratic Senator Bob Casey stopped by Marklesburg, touring the firehouse and speaking with the team about the funding and issues they still face.
We have to do everything we can to provide any means of support. When I say we, I mean the federal government. And I don't think this should be limited just to a pandemic-related time period. The American Rescue Plan was one of the best things the federal government did in a long time. But I don't think it should be the end of the story.
On the recruitment end, it's rare we get a new person in the door.
But one thing grant money can't fix is volunteerism.
A lot of it comes probably back to training and time commitments for the training to put into it. It's not as easy as it used to be. You didn't need as much income as you do nowadays.
So I asked the senator if those funds were just a temporary Band-Aid for a longer-term problem.
I think for that moment, it was a lot more than a Band-Aid. It was essential. It allowed counties to keep their head above water and not be in a deficit situation. We learned a lot of lessons in the pandemic.
One of those lessons being that communities need help there.
Lots of people in Washington, almost with unanimous voices, saying counties need no money, zero. States need zero money. But I do think that we have to figure out more and better ways to provide direct help to counties, because they're having trouble making ends meet, even apart from a pandemic.
This particular company covers over 80% of the lake, which over 1 million visitors come into a year, and they don't get any monies from the federal government.
As for what he thinks the federal government can do,
the solution to that isn't just some program with funding. I think it's broader than that. How do you recruit and retain those volunteers to do that important work? But in the meantime, as that recruitment problem is in front of us, we've got to at least support the existing volunteer base.
Until such a federal action comes to fruition, local volunteer fire companies like Marklesburg here will have to make do some other way. Reporting in Huntingdon County, I'm Douglas Braff.